How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do a bit of a more simple, chilled out mission. This one's called Mutual Aid. It keeps asking me to do this all the time for whatever reason. It must have been at the top of the list of the missions on Burn Forest. Yeah, pretty much you've got to go and rescue a Freightliner, what's it called, like M916A1 or something, and repair it as well. And it doesn't really tell you how many points it's going to need to repair. Yeah, it's over on Burn Forest. It's kind of slapped in one of the fields at the farm, and then you've got to take it to the top right corner of the Burn Forest map. There's like another farm in that top corner. And yeah, so it was a good excuse for this one. I figured I'd take out Bruce, as I'm not sure, I don't think I've had Bruce out yet on this phase, just because most of the missions, there's quite a lot of driving, it's pretty long. That's what she said. Yeah, so it's like, again, the advanced special gearbox a little bit slower, so some of the footage I've cut out on the way to the Burn Forest Gateway just to speed it all up a little bit, because as you can see, this is flat out 5th gear out of 5. It's cool, but it's yeah. Plus I've drove this road so many times in various videos that it's been done. Yeah, as I got Bruce, I've got a lifted suspension. Obviously the chin, if anything, is going to be the issue. Got over that bit alright. And then yeah, I took this ramped, I can't remember what the hell they call it now, the ramped thing that's on the back of on Bruce. Yeah, I kind of figured maybe the M9, whatever the hell it's called, was a bit longer than this whole board, but you can actually sit the trailer flat. And like I said, because it doesn't actually tell you how many repair points I needed, I've brought double loafs. I tried to just quickly jump the roundabout. I kind of figured I was going so slow that it won't really jump it anyway. But yeah, Bruce's chin got stuck. It's kind of like lips up a bit on top of the roundabout with the cement. It's a bit of a drop off, and yeah, Bruce, he couldn't make it. So I'm going to kind of wiggle through the countryside to get over to that farm. Try and hoist it through them trees if I can, just being a bit lazy. I might have to go round. And then instead of following this road out to the top, kind of past the warehouse I've been using recently, it doesn't show up on the map or anything, but it looks like there's a sort of a little gap in the trees where I could actually cut over from, it's one of the watchtowers. And it'd just be handy if I could kind of link over then to this main road, really, instead of kind of zigzagging all the way up the dirt roads to like the top of the map and then heading over to the top right corner. Nearly forgot that already. Turning last second, right? Oh, good job I got a rear steer on this. And overall, I mean, that's part of the reason why I edited most of the drive out here really to the Burn Forest map, because it's all just ticking along the roads, and obviously that's when it stands out that you are going pretty slow really. Once you're on off-roading like this, overall it balances out. Every now and then it'd be nice to be getting a little bit faster, but the nice thing with Bruce, he's got plenty of tyres, plenty of grip, so he's not the fastest, but he just keeps going. He's like inevitable. He'll get there slowly but surely. He'll well, again, unless you get the chin caught, which in fact there's a perfect example here. I don't really know how much Bruce is to blame, to be fair, because you can see the tree trunk like right at the front, and it's just sort of poking the roots into the front of Bruce, which yeah, most trucks probably would have had that happen anyway, because tyres would have been sinking in there a little bit. I'd like to have been in the cab for that view. It's a good little wall of water building up there. Ram this tree out of the way. The old Super Wanks bed. Living the dream. And yeah, like I say with Bruce, he ticks along slowly but surely. Still gets through there pretty easily. And then if I kind of went off to the right now, I'd head towards the sawmill. But I'm swerving off to the left. I did go here the other week. I can't remember the name of the mission now. I was with a Paystar 5600. There's one where I almost ran out of fuel. Well, I actually did, technically, but I quit and reloaded and had another attempt and then made it. I think I remember killing that little tree on the inside there. He's hogging that corner. It sort of forces you to go wide and through this water, so he's on the list. And yeah, I mean, options for this mission, well, for a start, I mean, you've got to recover a vehicle, so you're basically going to be towing it behind you. I could either just stick a winch on it and tow it behind me, but that's pretty normal, it's kind of been done. I could have got like a ramped flatbed trailer or something and got the truck onto that, but even though they have improved the ramped flatbed trailer, it still feels a little bit on the top heavy boaty side if you've got an actual truck packed on it. It's not too bad with scouts like the Lo4f and that, but a full truck on it, it again depends where you're going, but I was planning on a bit of kind of severe off-roading after grabbing this truck, so yeah, I just figured I don't actually think before I've taken one of these ramped platform things out and fit a truck on it. Like I say, for the most part trucks ain't going to fit on it, but out of anything, this M916, whatever the hell it's called, is probably one of the shorter wheelbase trucks that we own, so it's kind of got the best chance out of anything. And then yeah, like I say, if you brought a trailer, you couldn't bring another trailer. Like you could bring a what they call, like the service repair trailers or something. The green ones that don't really weigh a lot, and you'd have enough points to fix the Freightliner. But like I said, it doesn't actually tell me the way this mission's organised or whatever. If it's probably a bit of a generous description for it. I believe you got to go and rescue the Freightliner first, and then in theory take it all the way back to the farm. And then once you get it to the farm, I'm guessing it will then bring up the command to like now repair it. Obviously, when I got there, I'm just going to fix it that way round, because for a start I wanted to know how many points it'd actually take to fix it and what it'd need and all the rest of it. Yeah, so we're at this farm now. Not done too much on this farm. I suppose we did sort that oil platform out the other week, which you didn't get to see it at the time because when you finish the mission you're at the rail yard, but it does delete that big oil platform thing out of the field apparently. Again, I still think it'd be quite nice. I don't really think it'd necessarily gain much in the whole overall game, but it'd be quite nice if you could like unlock your own property on each map, like some kind of nice looking fat house in the hills or something. Maybe have it as like an alternative save point or a refueling point or a truck repair point or whatever. Yeah, so when I pulled up here, this is the truck obviously you got to fix. I can't even, it still doesn't tell me how many repair points it needs, again because I think it's still waiting for you to trigger the first half of the mission, which would be to deliver it to the farm. Obviously once I switch to the Lo4f, I can go into like, it'll now offer me the option to repair vehicles, and I can see how much damage the Freightliner's got. It's got 445 damage, so Lo4f has got 300 repair points per roof rack, so it's kind of 1.5 Lo4f's worth it'll take. A lot of roof racks in this game, I think on like the Tatran TUZ420 for example, even though it looks like quite a large roof rack, I think that's only got 150 points, so you'd need 3 vehicles of that sort of size, or again if you brought the trailer, but because I've got this ramped platform thing, I didn't check but I'm 99% certain it won't let me have a trailer, because obviously that flappy thing at the back's got to lower down, so yeah, you kinda, if you take a trailer you're sort of forced then just to tow the Freightliner behind you like normal. And if you do it that way, I'd probably recommend maybe towing it to the farm first, just so, because if you are towing it behind you it might take damage, and then because it's asking you to go to the farm first and then repair it, it might ask you to kind of refix it again once you're there. So although that being said, it's not fully damaged, so I suppose really even when you're towing it along, if it takes damage you could in theory make the amount of damage you need to repair could go up to 500 or 600 or something. So it probably works out quite nicely having it on like this ramped platform thing, because that kind of stops it directly taking any damage of its own really. You've got a little winch point at the end of this ramped thing, and it works quite nicely. It does help keep the vehicles pretty centred. Fortunately I did have like the ramps low enough that it bumped the front bumper up there, it didn't like start digging into the back of it or something. Yeah, as you can see it keeps it fairly nicely centred as you're dragging it up, but just the way the winches are, it runs out of juice there. You never get to fully retract it, always leaves a few feet of winch length on there, so in the end I just quickly had to change it to the like winch from the front of Bruce, kind of go through his cab, get it dragged up. Again, thankfully the front bumper kind of sits just above that little boxy platform thing at the end, so yeah, it fits on. Now when I'm raising this platform you can see it starts bumping the rear tyre up. I didn't want to go too high with it because I remember before, even on vehicles that have got like a raisable and droppable axle, unless all 3 axles or whatever are touching the platform, it won't let you actually pack the vehicle. I just tried packing it then, but I believe that was my mistake because I've still got the winch attached. I don't think it'll let me even pack it at all anyway if the winch is still there. I levelled the platform off, clicked pack, and it worked. Again though, preferably, to be fair, Bruce balances out pretty well with this add-on on the back. It does actually weigh quite a bit, and when you've got the trailer up vertical like that, it does sort of send a little bit of extra weight up high in the air that makes your truck wobble around a bit, but Bruce actually sort of sits quite nice and wide and flat and low, so it doesn't really make too much difference. Yeah, kind of half and half lifted the platform. You can see it's jiggling around a bit. I think it's not liking the physics. I kind of forced the trailer to, or sort of forcing the rear tyres really to kind of phase through the trailer a little bit. I was messing around. I was trying to jump the loaf on the back there. Well, not properly, because then I decided in the end I probably wouldn't do it for the video anyway. Yeah, he couldn't quite fit lengthways. That's what she said. And then I tried to get him on sideways. I reckon you could, but it just wouldn't give me the rear winch point of the loaf, and I lost interest, and even I was like, at this point I'm not even going to use it, even if I'm able to squeeze him on there. Yeah, cutting through here, these are the trees I wanted to try and jump through. For the most part it was going alright, but it's another rock that's just clipping like the second axle. Dropped it down into the low ranges, that's not quite enough, but rolled back a little bit, floored it, steered to the right just to get a little bit away from it. We managed to bump our way up there. See, it's a good job I got loaf on my roof for a bit of extra weight, because I was starting to do a bit of a big old wheelie there. And if it had gone much longer, I think I would have started also tipping over to the right, so it's a good job. Class that as another loaf save. And yeah, at this point that the platform thing wiggling around was driving me a bit mad, so I thought I'd lower it down a little bit. And then push my luck, try and raise it as much as I can again. I'm like, yeah, we're good. It's not freaking out. And to be honest, one thing I'll spoil the mystery now. You don't get to keep this vehicle. Not that I really care, to be honest, but I just kind of naturally assume there's a few vehicles so far, I think, on this phase that it's actually let us keep. I was thinking about it earlier. Overall, it's been, I'd say, a pretty decent phase, but there's definitely been some issues, some bugs. I've had some major ones. Obviously, blue screening my modded playthrough. I don't really get, like, the first time I started getting blue screened on this playthrough, a lot of my vehicles weren't showing up on the map when I was getting new vehicles anyway, so I went and deleted a few things off the map and it kind of solved the problem. The blue screening went away. The other day I started getting loads of blue screens and getting to the point. That last video I did took me a couple of days just because of the amount of blue screens each night. For this mission it didn't blue screen me, even though I've travelled through the gateway a couple of times. Because when it loaded up tonight, I loaded it up back to where I had my Dolphin kind of through the gateway to Burned Forest, with water still in it. Again, it's the truck's still able to hold water, but when you go through the gateway it empties your trailer. And then yeah, I transferred the 1800 litres to the trailer, went back through the gateway to Albany River, and then it deleted that water as well. So I already knew that was the case, but I just wanted to double check in case they've changed anything. But that's half the point. Like, this phase in some ways has been a good one, but in other ways they've completely slacked on, like, yeah, fixing any bugs or something. Like, normally you get a patch like a week or two after, but there doesn't really seem to be anything in this case. And some people seem to have got off, you know, pretty minimally. There's not really anything that's gone wrong, and sometimes that's the case for me. I've heard other phases where I've not really had any issues, but some people have said in the comments they've had, you know, whether it's blue screen and it's not loading properly, all sorts. So it does seem like a bit of a lucky dip sometimes, but yeah, either way this time it's they certainly haven't got on it quick enough. I'm not really sure what's happening, like if there's another phase on the way anytime soon or what's going on, or even what ended up happening with the DLC trucks, the Mack and the Kenworth, I think it was supposed to be getting. Yeah, as I'm driving up the road now, you can see the road veers off to the left. That's the way I'm supposed to go. You can see the watchtower in front of me, and I didn't realise, obviously I already know now because I've done the mission, but there is actually a road veering off to the right here. So when you look on the map, it doesn't show up as a road. It just looks like the trees thinned out a bit, and that's what I've sort of learnt from this phase is there is quite a few little cut-throughs here and there that don't actually show up on the maps, but they sort of work out quite handy. They've actually, to the credit of whoever kind of was in charge of overall balance in this map, the little cut-throughs they've actually made for you are pretty fair and reasonable. I mean, now, maybe once or twice, I catch Bruce's chin a little bit, but that's just the nature of this truck because it's got such a big fat chin to begin with. But yeah, they're not like, they don't punish you. I mean, just off the top of my head, I was thinking of like Phase 4, Erskine River. There's, I can't really describe where, there's like an S-bend main road and there's a cut-through to get to like the other side of the mountain really, and that cut-through is like super duper death snow to the point it was just a troll. It was like punishing you for finding a shortcut sort of thing. It was just, you ended up, I did anyway, with a dolphin as well, winching all the way through the entire length of it, which completely wasted the point of it being a shortcut. But yeah, overall, when you actually find little shortcuts on this, I mean, the other day I went like to the railway yard right up to the top left corner really of Albany River, and there was a little track leading back to the gateway and all sorts, and I quite like that as well. Even the fact that they're not really showing up on the game, so they're not offering it to you as in like, you know, you'll just plan it within the mission as you're looking. It's just kind of like you have to, bit of curiosity, a little bit of risk, but yeah, for the most part they've actually been pretty fair. Keep honking, blow up them anti-terrorist barricades. Yeah, like I say, then to this farm in the top corner, and it's been a good odd while now I've done this, but there is a field full of pumpkins here. I had to go and run one over. Yeah, for most of us, like I say, it's sort of long been done now, but for if anyone's a bit newer, there is a trophy where you've got to run over 500 pumpkins, and that field back there, actually, you could rack up some pretty good numbers. 2 little pumpkins there on the left as well, sitting next to that field. Yeah, and then like I say, I've already repaired it, so I assume it's just gonna kind of accept the truck, which is now where I realise that we don't get to keep it. It just deletes it kind of off my ramped platform thing, and then that's it. It just says, yep, good as new, thanks, here's your reward. Which feels a bit underwhelming now, but strictly speaking, 3.5 odd grand to rescue a truck probably wouldn't be too bad. If they let us keep it though, it would have been more like another 120 odd grand or whatever the hell they sell for. But yeah, overall it was actually a nice little mission, good chance to go off-roading with Bruce. He held up pretty well, like I say, not the fastest, but good stuff. Yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope it helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf because he's a goddamn professional, and I'll be back soon.